Hi, I'm Kanupriya Sharma from GMATQuizMaster, and I am here with this 8 to 5 plus level paradox question. Did you face any difficulty while solving this question? Let's solve it together. Let's start with the passage analysis. When new laws imposing strict penalties for misleading corporate disclosures were passed. So, we are talking about the time when these new laws were passed. Now, we have some description of these new laws. So these new laws impose strict penalties for misleading corporate disclosures. So if there's any corporate and they disclose any misleading information, then as per these new laws, new penalties, strict penalties will be imposed on them. All right, let's read further. They were hailed, so these new laws were hailed as initiating an era of corporate openness. So they were welcomed. It was thought that these new laws will initiate a new era of corporate openness. So that is a positive thing. They were welcomed as a positive thing as an additional benefit. So now we have an additional benefit. So what is the first benefit? That they would initiate an era of corporate openness. And then we are going to discuss an additional benefit. Let's read further. Given the increased amount and accuracy of information disclosed under the new laws. Now, here is an important word which is given. The word given indicates that what follows is a fact. So, this information, the increased amount and accuracy of information disclosed under the new laws, is a fact. That is, as per the new laws, the amount and accuracy of information disclosed would increase. So, let's understand this better. Let's say this is when the new laws were passed, and this is the time after that, this is the time before that. And we can create a kind of table here. So, if we talk about the amount of information, let's say if 10 units information was being disclosed earlier, now it will increase. And the accuracy of information will also increase. So if it was 95% accurate earlier, it will be 96% accurate. Now it will increase. What we need to understand here is that this is an increase, this is an increase. It does not mean that the original value was low. It may or may not have been low. What we know for sure is that it has increased. Whether it has increased from 1 unit or from 5 units or from 10 units is something that we don't know. Let's read further now. It was assumed. Now, given this information that this amount and accuracy of information disclosed has increased, it was assumed. So, what follows here is an assumption. It is again a very important thing to note that this is not a fact, this is an assumption. The assumption was that analysts' predictions of corporate performance would become more accurate. So, what does that mean? It means that if we add to this table the accuracy of analysts' performance, analyst prediction, accuracy of analysts' prediction, it would increase, and this is an assumption. So, if it was, let's say, 90% earlier, it would become 91%. Again, we do not know whether the base value was high or low or average. We just know that it should increase. This is an assumption here. And this assumption is based on this fact. All right, let's read further now what happened after that. So the passage says, since the passage of the laws, that is here onwards, however, which means there is a contradiction, the number of inaccurate analyst predictions has not in fact decreased. So this is an observation, and let's add it to the table. So this is an observation about number of inaccurate analyst prediction. If this number was 100 earlier, it is still greater than or equal to 100, right? It can be 100, it can be 101, it can be 150, and so on, but it has not reduced. This is what the passage tells us. Let's understand the logic of the passage better. So, we have been given a fact that under the new laws, the amount and accuracy of information disclosed has increased. Now, based on that, a very logical assumption was made that the accuracy of analyst predictions would increase. However, the observation is contradictory because it shows that the number of inaccurate analyst predictions has not decreased. So one thing here is that we've already discussed is that it might have been the same or it could have increased. The other thing to be noticed here is that the assumption is related to the percentage accuracy of analyst prediction. However, the observation is regarding the numbers. There is clearly a jump here. The assumption is regarding accuracy, which is in terms of percentage, and the observation is regarding number of inaccurate predictions. Now, it is very much possible that let's say there were 1,000 predictions earlier, out of which 900, 900 were correct and 100 were incorrect, which led to this 90% accuracy. Now, after the new laws were passed, an increased number of predictions were made, out of which, let's say, 102 were inaccurate. So clearly, the number has increased in this case. The number of inaccurate predictions has increased from 100 to 102. However, if you calculate, you will still get a higher accuracy. So this is a clear logical jump that has been made by the author. Time to start error analysis. We are done with passage analysis and you know what you should have understood from the passage. So, if you had a similar understanding when you read the passage first, when you were solving the question, then say that you did it right. However, if your understanding was not complete, you think that you missed some information when you were reading the passage, or you did not draw proper inferences, or you misinterpreted anything, or you did not read something correctly, mark a cross here. Also, write down the reason why your passage understanding was not correct. Since this passage does not have a conclusion, so this is not applicable. Now that we have understood the passage, let's understand the question stand here and think about what the correct answer choice should convey. So the question here is which of the following would, if true, best explain the discrepancy outlined above? What is the discrepancy? We know the discrepancy is between the assumption and the observation. So, which answer choice can explain this discrepancy? Now, what should the correct answer choice convey? The correct answer choice will convey, it will provide us a reason why the number of inaccurate analyst predictions has not decreased, even though logically the accuracy of analyst predictions should have increased. So, the correct answer choice and any correct answer choice to this question will provide us this reason to justify this difference. Now, this is something that you need to do. Whether you are thinking of some scenarios or not, this is something that you definitely need to think about. Now, let's think about some scenarios in which this is possible. Or, in fact, let me say that let's come up with some possible reasons that can lead to this discrepancy. So, the first reason, as we discussed during passage analysis, can be that the number of predictions has increased. The number of predictions, analyst predictions of corporate productions performance has increased, because of which, even though the accuracy has gone up, but the number of inaccurate predictions has not reduced. This is one possible reason. The second possible reason can be an issue with increased amount or increased accuracy of information available. So, if this increased amount or increased accuracy of information is somehow increasing the inaccuracy of predictions, this can be another reason. Now, you can go further and think about a reason or a scenario in which this increased amount or increased accuracy of information can negatively impact the predictions, or you can stop here. Again, these reasons are also optional. You are good to go to answer choice analysis if you are comfortable right after you understand what the correct answer choice needs to convey. Now, if your understanding of what the correct answer choice needs to convey was correct when you were solving the question, mark a tick here. Otherwise, mark a cross here and write down the exact reason why you could not understand what the correct answer choice needs to convey. Also, if you did not think about it, mark a cross here and write it down that this is something that you need to do from the next question. Let's start with answer choice analysis now. Choice A. The new law's definition of misleading information can be interpreted in more than one ways. So this choice says that the definition of misleading information can be interpreted in more than one ways, as per the whatever the definition is given in the new laws. Now, is that relevant? Just question yourself. Is that relevant? The answer is no. This observation is about the number of inaccurate predictions made by the analysts. The assumption was about the accuracy of their predictions, and it all depends on, or as per the passage, it is related to the amount of information and accuracy of information. It is not related to how much information was misleading or what kind of misleading information was there. That is not the case, and that is why choice A is incorrect. If you selected this answer choice, one reason can be your passage understanding was not correct. So if you have a cross here, definitely your answer choice analysis would be incorrect because you do not know the passage logic in the first place. The second reason can be you were not sure what the correct answer choice needs to convey. And that is why your evaluation of choice A was not correct. Another reason can be your interpretation of choice A. Did you read it properly? Did you understand it properly? Did you think about its impact on the passage logic? Do you think it conveys the meaning that it needs to convey? Accordingly, you will update your analysis here. If your understanding of choice A was not correct or you did not read it properly, you'll mark a cross here and write down the reason here. Or if this was your problem, you know what choice A conveys, but you did not take that extra step to make sure that it actually conveys what the correct answer choice needs to convey, then this is where you faltered. And you need to write down the reason here. Choice B. The new laws require corporations in all industries to release information at specific times of the year. How does that matter? Irrespective of whether they are releasing information at the same time or specific time or not, the amount and accuracy of information is going up. So, why is the number of inaccurate predictions not coming down? That is the question choice B does not answer, and that is why choice B is incorrect. Now, again, if you selected choice B, you need to evaluate where you went wrong. Was it the passage understanding? Or was it because you do not know what the correct answer choice needs to convey? Or did you not read and understand choice B correctly? Or was it because you read it, you understood it, but you did not question whether it conveys what it needs to convey? So that is how you will update the table and update the reason for each cross. C. Even before the new laws were passed, the information most corporations released was true. Now, this is somewhat related to the numbers that we have taken in our passage analysis. So, this is the number in our example that represents the percentage of the accuracy of information. So, we are saying that let's say before the new laws were passed, 95% information was accurate. Now, as per the passage, this accuracy has increased to let's say 96% or 97%. So, should this increase in accuracy not have a positive impact on the accuracy of analyst predictions or on the number of inaccurate predictions? Should it not have an impact on that? This is where you faltered. You assumed, you had a wrong assumption that this increase will not have an impact on the accuracy because this percentage was already high. And that is where you faltered. Even if it was 99% and it improved to, let's say, 99.9%, this is an improvement and it should lead to an increase in accuracy of the analyst's prediction. So, most likely, if you marked this answer choice, you did not understand the impact of this choice properly. You had an incorrect assumption while you were evaluating this choice. Choice D. Again, a very interesting choice and a very popular incorrect answer choice. Analysts base their predictions on information they gather from many sources, not just corporate disclosures. So, let's understand this choice better and understand its impact. Let's say analysts base their predictions on five sources. One of them is corporate disclosure, and then we have A, B, C, and D. If this one source has become more accurate, why should their accuracy of overall predictions not increase? Unless there is a reduction in any of these sources, why will this positive increase, why will this positive impact not have a positive impact on their predictions? That is a question that you need to answer. Most likely, if you mark this answer choice, what you thought was this increased, this is good, this increased, but we do not know about these. What about any of these reduced? But that is not what choice D conveys. It just says that they use, let's say, five sources instead of one. They do not say that the other sources might have faced some kind of reduction or the accuracy might have reduced in the other sources. Without that information, choice D is incorrect. You cannot assume that one of these sources, or at least one of these sources, had a reduction in accuracy because of which the overall accuracy might have reduced. So, again, if you selected choice D, you did not analyze and interpret choice D properly. Let's come to your error analysis table. You did not understand choice D and its impact properly. You analyzed it with an assumption that, okay, the other sources might have faced some kind of reduction in accuracy. Choice E, which is the correct answer choice, it says the more pieces of information corporations release. So this is related to increased amount of information, the more difficult it becomes for anyone to organize them in a manageable way. Now, this answer choice presents a possible issue with increased amount of information. This choice says that when more amount of information, increased amount of information is available, it is difficult to organize that information in a manageable way, which in a way suggests that okay, the analyst may not actually be able to manage the increased amount of information, and that is why the predictions that they are making, although the accuracy should have increased, the accuracy of those predictions should have increased, but that new information is not helping them because they are not able to manage that information properly. So, does this choice give you a reason to explain why the number of inaccurate predictions has not decreased, even though logically the accuracy should have increased? Yes, it gives you the reason. The reason is that even though increased amount of information is available, that information is not very useful to analysts right now because they are not able to manage that information. And that is why choice E is the correct answer. If you rejected choice E, this is what you need to question here. That why did you reject the correct answer choice? This is something that you need to question. You need to enter your reason here. What made you reject choice E? Did you not even evaluate choice E? You selected some other choice and left answer choice analysis there, or you misinterpreted it, or what did you do? You need to be very sure of the answer here. Now you have this rich table updated for this question, and you can use this to update your error log for this particular question. So wherever you have a cross, that point will go in the category of mistake that you are making. For example, you did not understand the passage logic or you did not identify what the correct answer choice needs to convey. All that will go in the category of mistakes that you are making. The reasons that you have provided here will go into your root cause analysis. They will completely describe in detail what mistake did you make and which led to this particular mistake. Hope you will be able to update your error log based on this discussion. Let me know how it goes. Good luck.